All right, we're rolling.
Yeah. Right on. You tell me where to sit and I'll
Right
sit.
here.
Okay, perfect. Throw my bag on the floor. Have at her.
What's your social media that we're using?
We'll just go YouTube.
Tim.
Yeah, Toolman Tim's Workshop
Tim.
on YouTube. Yeah. Headphones or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You don't have to, but you'll hear it better. Hello, hello, hello. Why am I? Here we go. That's why. There we go.
There you go.
What's up, guys? Compound Coalition here with Toolman Tim from the internet. You can find him on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram.
All the places, baby.
All the places. Which one are you most active on?
YouTube's my biggest. I mean, although... Sorry. Yeah.
You can pull that to you.
Slide the hell in
Wherever
here.
you want it.
You'd think I'm some friggin' newbie doing this shit, you know?
No, just you'll see, especially when you're listening through earbuds.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Okay.
And they're usually in a vlog format. So you'll have real good audio on one.
Yep.
And you'll kind of turn it down, and then the other dude you'll turn it up for him, and then the other guy will blow you out. So if we equalize them, and I don't have my video audio guys here doing that on the other side, so it's easier if we just have them kind of matched to begin with.
Yeah, man.
So what do you do?
Yeah, so Toolman Tim's Workshop, that's me. I got a couple weeks, I'm going to hit podcast number 300. I kind of jumped out of Jack Spirko's bigger community. I listened to him because he's a jerk, and he said, you know, if you do something, build something great, you're going to have the freedom and independence you want in your life. So I said, well, what the hell? Let's try it. So 5 years ago, walked away from working for the man. I did exactly what I didn't tell other people to do. I just walked away.
No plan?
No plan.
I hear you tell people to kind of have a plan now.
Yeah, you're going to see at LFTN, I've changed my advice a little bit. So,
yeah?
Because what it comes down to, we talked about this. I was sitting on the beach in friggin' Daytona Beach, and we talked for the first time just over a year ago. And we always talked. I said, you got to have a plan. Save up your money, have a whole bunch of money in your pocket, be ready to make the jump, then make the jump.
They never make the jump.
No, you never do. You just keep fucking crawling and crawling. Someday, you know? No.
And it's always the life insurance or medical, and it's always the insurance.
It's always. It's, yes, even in Canada. You might think, because don't hold it against me, folks.
Free medical health care.
Free.
Yeah.
So my daughter's 12 years old. She gets in trouble in school the other day. The teacher says, we're going to talk about free health care. Charlotte puts up her hand. She goes, it's not free. It's taxpayer funded.
Yeah, and why do people with money from Canada come here for medical?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why do people from Canada buy 10 acres of land in Tennessee? Because they love it here, right? Yeah. Because of the freedom. So, yeah, anyway, so I made the jump. Did exactly what I used to not tell people to do. Walked away. I'm a dick. I didn't even give notice. I was burnout, whatever. Built a handyman business using the shit I had around my garage. So you walk in your garage, you circle around, you look up. Hey, there's a ladder. That can make me $100 an hour. Get up there, clean out what we call eaves-troughs up in Canada. Gutters, you know?
Gutters, yeah.
Yeah. Get up there, do that. Let's see, we went, then I started into mowing. It all started, truth be told, with a $3 snow shovel. So I had one I got at a yard sale. I still have the damn thing. I think I'm going to bring it to Self-Reliance in October to show people.
Yeah.
So started with that, turned it into a 6-figure business. We took every penny we had during COVID, sunk it into building a daycare, my wife and I, and now she's my sugar mama. That business makes more money for us than my handyman business did. Went with that. Now we've bought rental properties. I've turned it into a property management business. All because I walked away, actually 6 years ago now, to start my own business because I listened to a jerk on a podcast who said entrepreneurship is the way to living and freedom. So I did it. And now I've got a community behind me who's doing the same thing. Had a guy message me yesterday. He's like, I want to price my job at about $120. I said, no, it's not enough. $200 for that. Easy. So he priced it this morning, and he got it. So
yeah, if you're comfortable with the price you're charging, double your price. You can always come back down if you don't have the customers.
Every single time.
For you guys that don't know, the jerk is Jack Spirko.
Right.
People like, oh, you're such a jerk because you made me lose my job, and now I make a lot more money, and I'm a lot more happy, right? It's not a negative thing if you've not heard that. You've heard me talk about Spirko thousands of times. So the latter, right? $100 job, $100 an hour cleaning out gutters.
Yeah.
Do people typically call you when their gutter's not draining? Because I walk outside the other day and I'm like, what is all this water pouring over the eave because and I'm up there in the rain,
Yep.
grabbing just a little bit of debris, right? So
Yeah.
if you educate your customer, right? Hey,
Yep.
there's a storm coming next week, according to this right
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
I can come out here and do this, and then you secure one job and you hit up the 20 neighbors close there.
Yeah.
And that $100 turns into a couple of $1,000 very quickly, because that's something people don't think about, right?
Never.
Even me. I've got dozens of ladders, I've got equipment to get up there, I've got dudes, and I'm out in the rain on a step stool, and then I go get the other step stool because the first one didn't fit. But had somebody walked in the door and been like, hey bro, the birds are making nests right now. Storms are inbound. I'll come around your building for $200 and I'll clean all your shit out right now.
Yeah.
I would have totally done it, but nobody took the initiative to come here. But every day on local social media, I see hundreds of people like, who's hiring? Why are you going to get a job at a place you hate, right? Why not?
Just start something.
Yeah, just do something. At least you can put your own music in your ears or your own podcast in your ears and just go to work.
Yeah, to me that's the freedom. I mean, I get to listen to John Willis swear at me in my earbuds, or I get to listen to Jack Spirko, or audiobooks. I've been into Atlas Shrugged lately, which is a friggin' deep, crazy dive.
So we talked about Atlas Shrugged on a podcast yesterday, as a matter
Did you?
of fact. So I'd always heard who is John Galt, right?
Right, yes.
I saw it on, there was literally billboard signs in San Diego. Who is John Galt?
In San Diego, of all places.
Yeah, and I never knew, and there was also Who is Rand Paul was another one that we saw. And I never did look that up until years and years later. But then I didn't ever read the book, and I haven't listened to the audiobook. I watched the movie version. There's 3 episodes on YouTube.
Yeah, I heard that.
And I thought it was great.
Okay.
And then somebody yesterday was like, oh man, the audiobook is so much better. So I'm going to go back and listen to that. And so I think 1984 also you should do. And then Fahrenheit...
yes, I've never done Fahrenheit... 451?
451, yeah.
Well, but I grew up a junkie on... I like George Orwell. So I had a English teacher in high school who got us to read Animal Farm. Years later, I went into 1984. And when you listen to Atlas Shrugged... Now, I'm still only 50 hours through it. It's 64 hours. And... So I listen to a lot of post-apocalyptic fiction, and you can barrel through that. You can't barrel through Atlas Shrugged. It's one of the few you can't. But there is so many points that line right up with George Orwell in 1984. It's unreal. Just the whole groupthink, and it's always been that way. Even though it wasn't, they changed the history, and they're like, hey, this is the way it's been. Just accept it, right? And her, she, love her or hate her, she had an incredible philosophy, and for her... it really lines up with anarchy, and I mean anarchy in the positive way. I don't mean anarchy in the Bond villain sense.
Well, it's been co-opted, right?
Sure.
Changing the terms of the dictionary, right? If you look it up on the online dictionary, it does not say what Webster's Merriam said 10, 20, 30, 50 years ago, and you can see the progression in all of our kids' school books.
Absolutely.
I went to 4th grade at the end of my mom's street, Cheersign Elementary School. And then my oldest son, my first son, went to school and had the same teacher.
Okay.
And then my middle son went to the same school and had the same teacher. And I remember getting in trouble for not doing my homework it wasn't called history, it was called, they called it something else. Anyways, I remember both my kids getting in trouble for the same area, social studies, they didn't do the homework, right?
Sure.
So I'm there mad at them for not doing their homework for something I myself had not done 20 years later. But the curriculum that was being taught to my oldest son was different than the curriculum I had.
Really?
And then years later, when my middle son had the same teacher, same class, it had changed again.
But it's always been that way.
Yeah, they rewrite history, and they're rewriting the terms and co-opting it to mean what they want. So if they can change our terminology of words, we say the same things, but the next generation doesn't. We might be telling them something, but it means something completely different to them.
100%. And that's it. I mean, that's why in our circle, voluntarism has become such a popular term, because it kind of represents what anarchy used to. Or because if you hear voluntarism, like, oh, well, voluntary. So for those who don't know, it means the voluntary exchange of goods and services, and you get to choose who you interact with, and there's taxation is theft and all of that, right?
Yeah.
But when you think anarchy, you know, even when I was a kid, I used to draw the little anarchy A, you know,
Yep,
and
yep.
I thought, oh, I'm going to be a Bond villain when I grow up, you
Yeah,
know?
or it's skateboards and
Right.
punk rock and setting shit on fire, right?
Right.
That's anarchy.
The
and
anarchist
spray paint,
cookbook.
yeah,
Yep.
or the anarchist cookbook. Where it's try to find one of those now. I mean, I wouldn't even Google it.
No.
So, but that's all by design, right?
Sure it is.
So back to
Yes.
Atlas Shrugged. They kind of just one by one, like let the factories burn, right? Everybody wanted more money. It'd be like, we demand $20 an hour at McDonald's. You're going to pay us. So they, like, the owners of McDonald's just walk away and disappear, and everybody's like, well, why aren't these McDonald's running? Because there's no leadership there, right?
Nothing.
You guys have it. You think you should have $20 an hour. Here it is. You take this, and then they disappear, right? So all these factories close down as the governments take them, and the owners of the factories, they just disappear. So all the industry leaders, all the designers of things, all the people who started the businesses have now disappeared, and now
Yep.
the government runs them, and they wonder why things aren't running.
Right.
So do you think that's kind of what we're doing, right? I left California. I'm here in the middle of nowhere.
Yep.
Just kind of keeping to myself for at least a decade.
Mm-hmm.
Is that good or is that bad?
Indifferent, maybe. It could be either, because, and Ayn Rand, I believe is how we pronounce it, or and whatever you want. I mean, her ultimate philosophy was the individual. The individuals, they get their joy out of their work, and everything else spins off from that. So when you get joy from work, it really, in her mind, it doesn't matter where you are. So for us, tie that into anarchy, it certainly helps to be around other like-minded people. She was a rugged individualist, which I am as well, but the lone wolf has a rough time at a go, right? So I think that we have to be practical about it, and I think if we want to be a rugged individualist, we have to be in places that are going to nurture that. A place like California, a place like Canada, probably not the most ideal place for that, because you're always going to be fighting. And you say it, I say it, the people we surround ourselves with, the 5 people we surround ourselves with, are whom we're going to become like. And you can fight and fight and fight, and that's kind of Ayn Rand there, the lead protagonist, the female, I can't remember her name right at the moment. She wanted to keep going back and fighting the system. Whereas everybody else is like, you know what, I've had enough. Because it wears on you. You know this. If you say, if you're around somebody who's negative and constantly tearing you down, you can only fight it for so long. You either have to walk away. A good professor of mine always said, your thoughts or your beliefs and your actions have to line up. And the only thing that can influence that is who you're around and what you do. So if you're around someone who is always tearing you down, like I said, you either got to leave or you become part of the system. Because it becomes, and I love the people that can absolutely fight against it their whole life, but that gets tiring. I want to do great things. I want to build a business. I want to make $10 million. And I want to do it in a place where it's as most conducive to what I do. So I think sometimes a person has to uproot and leave. That's what we did. 10 years ago, I jumped on a plane with less than $200 in my pocket, flew from what would be the equivalent of Maine to California. Slept on a fold-up bed in my in-laws' living room for 3 months while I worked in the oil patch. We were on the verge of bankruptcy. We've since dug ourselves out, repaired our credit, built all these businesses, but we had to get away from the place that had the mindset that it's always been this way, and why do anything great?
Right.
That make sense?
No.
Yeah.
I have a similar.
You do.
We all have a similar
Sure we do.
story to that. Yeah.
That's why we're all attracted.
I think it is. But I think that being here with our cloaking device, right? In the movie, there's a cloaking device, right? So
Yes.
you can't see the town or the new development that they've built, right? If you're flying over it, it's not there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that we have to bring people in, right? So I have my little patch here, and I'm in the middle of nowhere, and we have no codes and no zonings, but everything encroaches, right? They get people to leave what we left. They get those people to leave here and then change local governments, right? So
Yes.
they want to put a 4-lane highway out here.
Do
Well, with a 4-lane highway, with that 2-lane becoming a 4-lane, they come because what they're going to do is they want to bring traffic in and bring more revenue into these little cities, and then
Yep.
they can annex out in the county, right?
Yes.
So I have no codes or zoning, but that's coming. whether it's in 5 years or 10 years or 20 years, it's coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is it more advantageous to me to find like-minded people and get them to come in here and help fight that fight on the local level, or remain silent and just kind of do my own thing, right? Do we have a bigger purpose than being left alone?
So if there is one area where you can affect change locally. So I wouldn't call, I don't want to say I don't make mistakes. I make mistakes, but I don't regret mistakes. Mm-hmm. The only mistake you make is the one you don't learn from. So 6, 8, 10 months ago, I ran for town council. And there was everybody was surprised, because if you know my opinions on the government, I just don't love it, right? I seen an opportunity. There was 3 like-minded individuals on the council. One more would tip the balance. I lost. I've only lived there 10 years, and it'll be the thing that if I live there my whole life, when I pass away, my obituary will still say I came from away. It's small towns, right? So I lost to a guy who had lived there his whole life, a businessman in a wheelchair, all of that. So it was tough, right? I dealt with it. I moved on from it, but I thought, and I still think, that the best way to affect change is through local government. Something simple that we're working on in my local area, talk to a bunch of people, we're going to get a petition, we're going to open it up to get backyard chickens for our town. It's only a 2,000 person town.
Right. Why the fuck do we even have to ask for chickens?
Again,
when's the last time there was a backyard chicken? How long ago?
In my town?
Uh-huh.
Oh, there's probably some now that I don't know about.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, and that's the way to do it, because forgiveness instead of permission, right? And
that's right.
If you don't, and Becky and I talk
legal for a fee.
Exactly, because that's what it is, right? And my wife Becky, we talk about this a lot. We're business people, but at the same time, we try to stay out of sight. You don't want to attract the wrong attention.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, I get it.
We have dogs. We don't register our dogs, right? At some point we probably will have to, but as long as you don't, I always say one of my rules of thumb, don't break 2 laws at once, because then you're attracting attention, right? Yeah. So, if you need to stretch something, don't bring attention to you while you're doing it, right?
Fights.
Yeah, exactly. And because there are fights, and there are times, and there are hills to die on. I won't say there isn't, because there is. And for me, that's freedom. So, whatever that means to each individual is a different story. But yes, the 110%, I personally think the only place that you can fight is locally. Because how do you fight something that's been so wound up, whether state, provincial, or federal, that has been running for 100, 200 years and completely built in?
I never pushed record. Fuck.
That's okay. I've done that before.
Holy shit. We just recorded 30 minutes and I hadn't pressed record here.
We are totally good.
Wow. All right.
It's okay.
Just keep going.
All right. You want to start over?
Nope.
Okay. So we're talking about local government and change. And so to me, I just told the story. I ran for local council recently. Those who know me were shocked as hell, because it came down to the fact that I don't want to say I'm indifferent to government. It's there, whatever.
So
right?
anything can be made more difficult with the application of government.
Everything.
Right?
Yes.
And everything in your life can get better with smaller government or no government, right?
Yes.
Think about in your life. I can't identify anything in my life right now on my day-to-day basis that government is adding to me, right? And I know somebody's going to be like, well, you have clean water. We would have clean water anyways.
100%.
We would have clean water anyways. Maybe people who are not willing to work, they might not have clean water. Not my problem.
No.
Literally not my problem. You rob 65% of every dollar that I earn to give to somebody who is not willing to work.
Right.
Now, not willing to work and not able to work, 2 different things. Those people were they were taken care of, right? And terrible things happened in the past.
Yes.
Not my problem.
No.
Not my responsibility.
Right.
I am responsible for my family and the people that come and surround themselves around me and I allow into my life. Those are my responsibilities. So we have people in the world who create things, right? We have a service. If my tooth hurts, I seek a dentist, right? I'm more than happy to pay him whatever he wants to make my tooth stop hurting, right?
Absolutely.
Then you have bureaucrats, right? And an example I use of that is the Department of Motor Vehicles, right?
Yes.
I've already bought a vehicle. I've already paid sales tax on the vehicle. And now every year I have to go and have tags put, another tax, right?
Yep.
And depending on the state you live in, you have to have an actual inspection done. You have to pay another fee to have it inspected
Yes.
in different manners so that you can now pay another tax to get the tags, right?
Right.
That's a bureaucrat. That's somebody who only has a job because their income, their paycheck comes from stealing money from other people, and most of those people create a service that people seek out. So if we removed bureaucracy,
Yes.
if we removed the threat of a gun, would anybody use those services? And the answer is no, right?
No.
So if you hold one of those jobs, you need to evaluate what value you add.
Right.
That's where that, and that's what government is for. It is to create jobs for people who will not produce or learn a skill.
So we talked a little earlier about I listened to a lot of post-apocalyptic fiction.
Yeah, we were talking about Atlas Shrugged.
Yes. Going a little further back, do you know 1 Second After?
Yes.
Yeah. So I had Bill Fortune.
And the next one and the next one. And I heard there's a fourth one
There
now.
is a fourth one coming out in August. So I had him on my show.
Where is he?
He is in North Carolina.
So we could probably get him for Self-Reliance Festival.
I bet you we could.
We're roundabout talking to, I've got a friend that's talking to A American right now.
I've had him on my show as well.
Yeah, love his stuff.
Oh, so we have a book club. See, I always ask for people who smile when you talk about things. I love books. Anyway, so I'm listening to 1 Second After again, because that's the next book we're doing. We're starting 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do 4 on the brand new one. So in there, they have all these city people refugees who are leaving, right?
Yeah.
They're walking up the highway toward this mountain pass. So they allow a few through at a time. They interview them to see, who
has a skill.
Who has a skill. So they let some through. This lady comes to him and she's like, I can help. And he says, well, what did you do? And she said, I was a PR lady for a tobacco company.
Great. Yeah.
And if that doesn't sound, I mean, that's the modern equivalent of a bureaucracy, when
you convince people to buy poison.
Exactly. And put a positive spin on it, not just buy it, but to feel good about it.
Yeah.
Right?
And educate a young generation to become your future customers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the equivalent. When I worked in the oil patch, those were the type of people who in 2014, when the worldwide price collapsed and we all lost our jobs up in Alberta, those were the first people who lost their jobs. There was one day I went to work, got a call at 8 o'clock in the morning. My boss says, you need to be here in an hour and a half to fill out paperwork. By the time I got there, he wasn't with the company anymore. So that's the type of thing. The people, if you want to know your worth, just look at what happens when the downturn comes, and you'll find out whether you actually can do something like that.
Yeah, and I say that all the time, right? If the power goes out, what is your new job, right?
Right.
Who are you? What do you do, right? I say that to people, like,
Yes.
What do you do? And they answer, I'm a lawyer. That's not, okay, is that what you do? Is that who you are, right? What do you do if you're not a lawyer, right? Okay, you're a lawyer, and you go to a job, and you make this money to have 2 weeks of vacation. What do you spend that 2 weeks doing, right? And how many times have you been there, right? I like to go fishing in Florida.
Right.
And they do that every year, right?
Sure.
So they work all year to get 2 weeks to go fishing in Florida. What if you just quit your job and went fishing in Florida, right? What if you lived a different life and you figured out how to live with less expenses, live in Florida, and now you just take people fishing in Florida, right? How do you take the thing that you love and make enough income to make that full time? And dudes are like, well, I wouldn't love it any. Really? Is that really true, or is that just some bullshit you tell you?
Because I always say, look for the thing that makes a person's eyes light up.
Yeah.
When you're interviewing, when I get to that spot, when I'm watching somebody and all of a sudden their eyes open a little more and you get that light on them, that's the thing that they could do every day for 16 hours all day and never complain.
Guys are like, well, money's not everything. Really? Then why do you go to a place you hate every day for so fucking little of it, right? If money's not everything, why does it control your life? Like that's programmed into them.
Yes.
You know?
And it's okay to love money.
We were talking earlier, and you'd said you used to tell people have a lot of money in their pocket before they change their job career. And I said, I'm more burn the boats, right?
Yeah.
And I'm very hesitant to say that because I am fearful that I'm going to get some lady that sends me an email or shows up here and is like, you told my husband to burn the boats and he quit his job and then things were so stressful that he ended his life. Mm-hmm. Maybe. But I'm like, should I suppress would I really believe in fear for one person that has that weakness, or am I better off putting the true message out, right? When you have no backup plan,
Right.
you have no choice but to make the one plan work.
And that's true, because if you look at what I did, what you've done, Nicole Sauce, we've all done that, you know. My buddy Brian Alexovich from the Lots Project, him and his wife sold their house and they're living full-time in an RV. Not because they had to, but because they wanted to. But they burnt the bridges to do it, you know. They're like, all right, let's do it and go.
They really did it, yeah. And they've got those big-ass dogs.
3 big-ass dogs.
Yeah.
Like not German Shepherds.
St. Bernards.
St. Bernards, the ones you used to see with the
Yeah,
little
the whiskey
cast.
barrel.
Yeah. And so here's the great thing. We live in Canada. They live wherever. They just picked up a lot here for about 6 months. They're going to stay. We just met up with them 40 miles from here. We just bought 10 acres of land in Tennessee as a crazy Canadian. Can only do it because of entrepreneurship.
Not a dude who moved here from Canada. Lives in fucking Canada resident.
Yes.
Bought property, but motherfuckers are here in the United States and can't figure out how to buy property.
Listen, I just need to toot my own horn here a little bit, because this,
You toot it loud, man.
because you guys need to know this. And I've said it, whatever you figure out your life for entrepreneurship, it will make it better. And you're like, well, whatever. Anyway, it is true.
Fucking preach, man.
Because we started, I don't think I covered this so we started with I walked away from a job because my blood pressure got so high I couldn't handle it. I didn't give him any notice. I was a dick about it. I just walked away because I couldn't. My wife's like, well, what do you know how to do? We almost were bankrupt years ago, and we bought a house before that, and I had to learn how to do everything. So we had a 130-year-old house. If I wanted to fix a window, I had to fucking do it.
We tear 130-year-old houses down here.
I know.
Like they by design, on purpose, right?
Sure.
It's not because they're falling down. It's because they want to conform everybody. A 130-year-old house has a piece of property on it, and it's zoned in a manner, for instance, that you can't put 12 houses there, you know? So we destroy...
It's a sin.
Yeah, it really is.
This house was gorgeous. Anyway, so we fixed I had to learn, right? So what did I know? What did I love doing? Fixing shit, right? I used to get dumpster weed whippers from Home Hardware, the hardware store where I work, because I couldn't afford it. So the guy would be like, this is going to cost the customer $100 to fix. They said, throw it out. He said, but you can buy a carb kit for $4 on eBay, fix it yourself. So I taught myself. So I did all that. So what did I know? Handyman. So I started being a handyman, work with ladders in the garage. I'd take that out, make $100 to clean gutters, take my mower out, you know, that kind of stuff.
So let's stop at $100 to clean gutters.
Sure.
Because all these local groups around here, I assume all of them, right?
Yep.
Everybody's like, who's hiring? If you can make $100 to clean gutters, is that an hour job? Is that typically how many gutter, like a house has what? Probably 4 gutters on it, maybe 4 downspouts.
Yep.
And cleaning the gutter is going to be an amass of debris at the downspout typically. The whole thing's not filled all the way. Do you just come to a homeowner and you're like, for $100, I'll clean your gutters?
Yeah.
Or do you need to look up there and see how much is really in there? I mean, if there's debris in the whole trough all the way across, it's typically growing because there's seeds.
You can see it.
You know what that is. So while you're getting that $100 job right there, are you going to the neighbors also and being like, hey, because like we talked earlier, I just had a good rain event here.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden my stuff's not draining. Whereas 2 weeks ago it drained just fine.
Yes.
Well, we've got these starlings. We've got these birds flying around trying to make nests in the downspouts.
Oh, they're good.
So all of a sudden it's pouring rain, and I always walk out to see how much rain is moving on the terrain, right? How much of an event is this? And my gutters are overpowering, and there's a waterfall coming down. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? So I get up there, and there's just handfuls of seeds and straw, and I pull it out, and I never throw that shit on the ground because it grows, right?
Yeah.
So I've got a little pitcher with me. I put it in there, put it in the dumpster. Had somebody come up and knocked on the door 2 weeks ago and been like, hey, Ryan Hall says there's a big ass storm coming here. That's a huge YouTube page here for all these storms. There's a storm coming in 2 weeks. I'll come around here with a couple ladders for a couple $100 and I'll clean out all your stuff. I would have happily, you could have solicited me and I would have paid you in a heartbeat.
Right.
But there's nobody that's ever come up that driveway and said that, right? I've got dudes here.
Not even
We've got
once.
ladders. I've got trucks. I've got equipment. We totally could have done it. Wasn't even on my radar. You could easily make money doing that.
Easily. And anything. Because people, here's the thing. People want to pay for things they don't want to do or they can't do.
Yes.
And to be honest, you want the customer that wants to pay you to do things they don't want to do.
Yep.
I started out...
I don't want to clean my cars.
Right. Now, I always say this. Senior citizens are a good place to look for when you start because they can't do them, but they're on a very limited income.
Yeah, you don't want the poor ones.
Right. Because they...
So I tell people all the time, you need better customers.
Yes. And you need to charge more. Because if you charge more, you're not going to attract the customer that won't pay you.
If your customers are poor, you're going to be poor.
Right. We've been in business 6 years. I've never once had somebody skip out on me. Because if I can't collect it, my wife does. She's very good at bill collecting. And because that's just the way it is. But in 6 years, never once has somebody missed a bill on us. So
does she knock on the door at midnight?
She just calls them
with a road flare. Like, how does she?
You know what? I love my wife. She actually, years and years ago, ran a payday loan store. She was a manager of it. And she doesn't regret it now. She learned a lot from it, but you'd learn a lot from it. So that's where she is a hound dog for collecting money. She's good at that. So on our way down here, we started the new business. So 2.5 days on the road. It takes a while to get your mind clear.
This trip.
Right now. So in our area at the moment, the government has done these space creation grants. So I told you, so we turned the handyman business into a property management business, spent every penny. We took a big chance during COVID, put every penny we had to start another day or to start a daycare during COVID. Everybody said we were crazy. And it makes 4 times as much money as my handyman business now. That's what afforded us to buy 3 rental properties, property down here. So anyway, the government just said we need more, and we do need more spaces, whether you like the government or not.
What does that mean, spaces?
Childcare spaces.
Okay.
So every city, every town in the province of Alberta is short on childcare facilities. People who want to go to work but need someone to go there.
I would assume you're probably short on competent childcare people as well.
That is also a problem. So we discovered that they are putting out a grant right now that will give you X amount of dollars for each space that you create. Basically an excuse to start a business. Becky looks at me, she says, why isn't more people doing this? I said, because 99 out of 100 aren't even going to look at it. And, out of those 100 out of 10,000 that do, one of them might do it. And you're the one who will do it.
So are you starting individual businesses? Are you starting a franchise? Are you going to sell these locations? What are you doing?
So our plan, next one, so we put out a post on Facebook. We called realtors while we were driving. She called the licensing company while we were driving. She's got it all going. She put a post yesterday. She has 25 people on a wait list to start in that daycare for kids.
As employees? Or?
No, as kids for right now.
Got it.
We need to find a really good level 3.
So we've got the income.
We've got the income's guaranteed. There's a grant there to open the space. We've already found 3 or 4 viable buildings to rent. So it is, and the thing is, the hardest one's the first one. Everything's replicatable after that. Mm-hmm. We know all the hoops we've had to jump through. There's 4 inspections you have to do. We know every time they come, they're going to find something. So, you leave something there for them to find. You fix it, you move on. We already have, the biggest thing is putting together a big manual, right? Because you need to have paper.
Yep.
It's just like a 150-page program plan, right? That's already together. That's all done. We know what good employees look like. Here's the other thing. We also know what it costs to have good employees, because most daycares don't pay their employees enough.
So what's a good employee look like?
A good employee. So we have a few right now. We have 2 that I really love. And
I have good ones too.
Yep.
I don't know how to attract more of them.
I know, because I used to be a headhunter. I say that. I used to look at other people when I'd go to businesses and be like, hey, my boss should hire this guy. Because the problem is that almost anybody worth hiring is already working somewhere.
That's what I say all the time, especially in this small town, right?
Yes.
Anybody worth having has a high paid job or has a business.
Right. When my boss poached me, I was working drive-through at Dairy Queen. I was in 4-year university, first job out of university was a manager at Dairy Queen. My boss poached me. He says, come work at the hardware store. Best decision ever made, because it all turned into all of this, right? So for us, a good employee is somebody who loves the job, who wants to work, who wants to make more money, who wants to make the business more money, and who you can rely on. That's the big one. I will pay somebody, if they show up and do the job, we'll pay them really well. But
What's a medium, like do you guys have minimum wage there, for instance?
Yeah, it's almost $15 right now.
So I think our minimum, I don't know what our minimum wage is. I think it's like $8 or
I think
around
it
there,
is,
right?
yeah.
So starting job for a kid working someplace should be about $10, right?
Right.
And then everybody's off on this living wage. You got to pay me $25 to work at McDonald's. Well, motherfucker, McDonald's isn't that's not a career. That's
Right.
like you go. I think that every child during high school should have to work fast food or
Yes.
customer service, right? So they can appreciate that person they're going to interact with in the future. Also know that they don't want that job. Like
Right.
they need to do that or manual labor. Like we should
Aspire.
have
Yes.
like some kind of manual job corps thing, right? Where you go do, labor, you do framing, you do concrete work, right? I know that I can't carry 4 sheets of plywood anymore. I know
Yes.
that I can't unload,
So-
12 sticks of 2x6s. I also
Yep.
know I don't want to fucking do it.
No, I want to pay somebody else to do it.
Right. So what's a good starting wage?
Sure. So it makes it challenging because our minimum wage is so damn high there, right?
Yeah.
So we're looking at we hired 2 girls who are not far out of high school for just about $20 an hour.
Okay.
And we hired another girl who is working on. So you need a certain level of education in order to run a full daycare. We have one.
Okay.
So we just hired a new one, and she's finishing up in October, and she's well over $20 an hour.
So hire fast, fire fast?
My wife, yes. I've made that mistake in the past of not firing fast.
How long will you try to develop them before you're like, okay, this is too many red flags? Like
3 months.
3 months.
Because in at least where I am, it's just in the 3 months, and also be upfront with people. Be like, listen, here's the deal. If you work out, you're going to make lots of money. If you don't work out in the next 3 months, or if you're not happy here, we just need to mention it, talk about it. Because I used to be the type that would completely. I'm not a. I don't like confrontation, or at least I didn't. I've learned to love it. You have to.
If you got to do it fast too,
Yes.
otherwise it's going to be so much worse.
I had an employee in the past who I kept on way too long, and it got nasty. And I shouldn't have. It's all on me. 100%. It was a leadership failure,
Yeah,
right?
if I come to my place of business that I own and
Yeah.
I'm dreading it,
Right, that's
we have
it.
a real problem.
We do.
And that's a me problem.
It is. And it's always a leadership problem, because when it comes down to it, you or me are the person that has to fire the person.
Yeah.
So yes, right now I've got this awesome guy. Just hired him because I have this problem of not wanting to let other people do shit. So
Same.
I run a lot of property management, and I have to look after it. But if I want to do this shit, if I want to live free, and I want to come down, which I am, I'm coming down to Tennessee for 7 weeks in September and October. I'm going to be at Prepper Camp. I'm going to be here at Self-Reliance. I'm going to be at Spag's event up in Kansas, and I think one more at least. And then I'm going to be working on my property. If I want to do that shit, I have to give up.
Yeah.
So this guy I hired, he's fucking awesome. I give him a big chunk of money to just basically answer the phone. And I said, if this works out, if I'm happy with you, it's going to turn into something full time.
Yeah, the more money you make, the more I'm going to give you of it.
Exactly. And if he likes it, I also told him, I'm like, this is, I'm up front now. Because that saves so much trouble. And I'm like, if you want to keep doing this, let me know. But if you hate it, let me know as well. We'll part ways. No hard feelings, because there isn't hard feelings in business. There shouldn't be, because it's business, right? So that's what I do. Yes, up front. For me, that saves me, because I said, I really, when Becky met me, I was not a confrontational person. I am now. I can be, because I have to be. But what saves a lot of that uncomfortableness is being upfront when you start. This is the period. This is where we're going to figure things out. But at any point, if shit goes sideways, you're gone. You need to know that. But if it works out, you're going to make lots of money. I'm going to make lots of money, and we're both going to be happy.
We're running into that right now. People always ask me, "Hey, will you come out to this event, or will you come do this?" And like we're going to Arkansas in August.
Wow. Okay.
For Bear's event.
I need to meet Bear. I haven't.
And I'm standing in the shower this morning. And I'm like, who's gonna feed the cats? Like I don't.
I do it too, John. I do it too.
Like
Sorry.
I don't have somebody that I'm like, here's the keys
I
to
know.
everything.
I know.
So I still don't know what that answer is.
So
like,
do you want to do? I know I'm not here to ask you questions, but do you want to do that? Like, do you want to travel around more?
I have to.
Okay.
How
come?
Because I owe it to him. He's been here twice. Jack's been here 3
Yep.
times, right?
Yes.
I can't keep not going.
Sure.
And I can't bring better people in, right? I feel like I don't need to change 1,000 people's lives, I need to change one person's life.
Yeah.
And it's not even changing their life. For my selfishness, I need to find the right person, right?
Okay.
I've got 2 guys working in the building. Mm-hmm. They're both from California.
Okay.
They came here because
That's
of
where
their
you're
videos, right?
Okay.
And I need more people. I can't build this community and be self-sufficient without more bodies, right?
Right.
And I can't bring in men that don't have women, right? There's not women here, right? I need families.
Sure.
And I'm not saying single guys don't work.
No.
But it like that's always the shortcoming, right? We guys see these videos and they want to come out. They're like, we need to leave California or get out of wherever we are, and they come here, and then the wife stays home with the kids and is trapped in a town where there is no job for her.
Yeah.
And the dudes do great, excel, great dudes here, but they don't last 6 months, a year, 18 months, and they're gone, right? Mm-hmm. So we need to have something for them also.
That's a great fucking idea.
So how do we do that? How do we have some kind of children's program or on-site homeschooling kind of / daycare, right? How do we implement that? And what does that look like, right? And I need to see what Bear's community looks like. I need to see what Tag's community look like.
Yes.
So and that's what people are like. Where would you go if I left here? I'd probably go. I love Chattanooga. I love Pigeon Forge, right? I have no intention of leaving Tennessee.
Sure.
But if I did, I would go where Bear is, or I would go where Tag is.
Sure.
Because I know the frameworks there, right? I know that what they're doing is working. I need to go see that. And I just need to meet other people, right? It's more blood. Like Tactical Response is here. I moved here because of Tactical Response. And a lot of our customers overlapped, right?
Sure.
So what I said is we're in a small pond and our fish are all starting to be small when you don't harvest them, right?
Yeah.
So we started doing other stuff. So how do I take the same product I'm making it but market it to other avenues, right? And that was like the Overland Expo, right? So all of our customers have a tool bag. It's great. You can use it for tools. You can use it for ammunition, range bag, whatever, diaper bags. How do we sell that to other people? Well, every dude with a Jeep or a Toyota, typically those guys have some expendable money, right? And we're going to build them a tool bag, and they're going to buy it because it's going to last them forever. Their grandchildren's children are going to use that bag.
Yep.
It's an heirloom quality product, but we're going to build it to match the color of your Jeep, right? You like toxic green, you like red, whatever it is, we've got that.
Yeah.
Now, every one of those dudes typically is also a firearm owner.
Sure.
He pulls the trigger and shoots a gun, but he has no training. So how do we plant that seed and get him into our community? They're typically handy, right? They work on their rigs. They at least know how to build their stuff. Or there's the other side where the dude's just got so much money. He's got a dude that does that. That's fine.
Yeah,
we could. He's
you
welcome
can
too,
supply
right?
Him too, yeah.
So, and it's like homesteaders. You've got homesteaders that are so busy homesteading that they live in poverty and never leave the property, and just do the eke by dirt farmer kind of little house on the prairie stuff. And then you've got homesteaders that they have such successful businesses and so much money that they can just build this and live this lifestyle, and you would never know that they're off the grid, right?
Right.
I'd rather be the comfortable. I'd like to have the skill, but not have to implement the skill till it's forced upon us, until that day comes.
And do you ever see, there's a lot of, there's a vocal community online who look their nose down at those fake or false, or because they want to, because there is freedom in creating content if you want to. There's a ton of freedom. It may not be the end of this year. I mean, it's my goal to be 100%, have enough income just for my content by the end of this year, and it's going to be fucking close. But there's a lot of people that turn their nose down at those people because, oh, they're phony or they're fake.
Who are we talking about? Not who's doing it. I mean, like, what people?
Okay, so I guess I should back up a little bit. There's a vocal, if you go on Instagram or Reddit, people who are like, and I understand
about making money.
They're
They're mad about the guy that's showing the videos.
That's what it comes down to.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So people ask me all the time, what about Canada prepper? Right. Canadian prepper.
Yes.
Nate.
Yeah.
He's trapped in the clickbait thing right now. Right.
I worry about him because I shouldn't.
No, go ahead.
I've never met the dude.
I want to be friends with him. I want to be friends with all of them.
So he is very, very. So I'm on. You have to be on social media everywhere, right? And one of my favorites, but I also hate it, is Reddit, because there is incredible information there that you can find very easily, but there's a very
I have my own hate threads on me. Like there's
Yeah,
on
well, I'll
Reddit,
find
there's
it.
hate threads on me.
Yep.
All everywhere. Okay.
Sure. And it happens.
So people are like, well, what about Canada Prep? I go, he's trapped in the clickbait thing
He
right
is,
now.
yes.
Every day, this is the worst one yet. So maybe he loses a few guys, right?
Right.
But it's a good stepping stone, right?
Yep.
Why did they find him? Right? Because he's got such a good audience, such a big audience.
Mm-hmm.
He does put out videos and gear reviews, and he has a product available in the country. Like I saw I saw a video he did on silky saws. So I think I bought 6 silky saws, and I bought them from him and had them shipped in from Canada because I consumed his content and I wanted to do business with him.
Yes.
I think it's great. People watch it. They're there because it's something new. They're looking for something different. And then they kind of get burnt out, right?
Yes.
Oh my God, this is the worst one yet. Oh my, so the fear. But that got them awake, right? That took them to the next step because they were watching those videos. Maybe they found one of my videos or one of your videos or somebody else's videos, right? I don't have a problem with any of these guys. Do your thing, man. I think he has a large audience, so we can look at him. How did he grow the audience?
Yep.
Where was the value? How have the videos evolved? I think we can learn from all of those dudes. There's guys out there like Wrangler Star right now, right? So
he's
he's
changed
homesteaded
recently.
from state to state, built things. You watched him early in YouTube, and then it kind of stopped working. And then all of a sudden, he got some guys with him or behind him or whatever, hired a firm or whoever they are. You know when you see the uniform now. He's got the uniform, he's got the background, the music's the same. Love it. Can't stop watching. It's actually influencing what we're doing, right?
Yes.
Want to be friends with him? Great content. Dudes are like, well, what about rank? Like, you know his name.
Yeah, I sure
so
do.
obviously he's doing something right,
Yep.
right? So if we can build a community, maybe you don't have to love everything that everybody's doing.
No. So I'm going to stop fucking apologizing because I'm Canadian. I just do it. That's my thing, right? So anyway,
If somebody's mad at you or talking shit, you're doing something right.
Right.
If you don't have people upset about, and you don't have to go upset people. If you're just doing your life,
right.
if there is no such thing as negative publicity, right? I was on CNN when 13 agencies raided my shop, right? For 2 days in a row, I'm on CNN. I was on every newspaper cover of every West Coast newspaper. Wow. We went from doing my company, who had been in business for years, never broke $100,000 a year. I did $72,000 that next 2 weeks,
right,
in cash straight into the bank account, because people thought we were going out of business. And I went from 6 employees to 36 employees in the next 6 weeks, and I did $1 million in the remaining balance of half of that year. Right, wow. $1 million because of the negative publicity.
Yeah, and it works.
Yeah, and then went to prison, federal prison, for 2 years. Came home and started my business and did $960,000 while on probation the first year I'm home in my mom's garage. And I was still custody of Federal Bureau of Prisons, so I'm in the halfway house, attached to the halfway house for another 6 months. The only way to leave the halfway house is to have a job. So I had 3 jobs, working 80 hours to not be in the halfway house. And while I did that, made $960,000 through my company. There is no such thing as bad publicity.
No, not at all. I've learned that from you.
Yeah.
I recently, so a year ago, John's like, you need to get your ass on TikTok. And I have.
And you far surpassed me.
I'm doing well on there.
So we just had Self-Reliance Festival here. And Bob Lester said,
yes,
he wants, his kids are doing some YouTube stuff. Bob's about to launch something that's going to be pretty awesome himself. And he said, hey, we have all these content creators here. Let's get everybody here in this building and let's just do a little content deal. And I'm like, Bob, who's the presenting? He's like, you are. I'm like, I'm not the dude, right? So we got everybody that we got everybody together. And like, okay, how many YouTube members? How many? I was the dude. I'm not, right?
Yeah.
You have far surpassed everything I've done on TikTok and Instagram. You're the guy that needs to be here. And it's like this secret thing that nobody will fucking give you. So we need to put some dudes together.
Yes, we
and
do.
sit here and like, okay, it's $100 to show up.
Fuck yes,
You're gonna immediately get $1,000 of value.
Yes.
When you walk out
It's
of
a
here,
fucking
you're gonna be able to
masterclass.
make $1,000 today.
Yep.
We just need to put that together.
Let's do it on the fire end. Fuck, we got everything on the go. But yes, I'm going to do a 2-day work event on my property the 2 days before Self-Reliance Festival. Why don't we fucking put it together for the day
That'd be
after?
perfect.
Because I've learned, so I'm going to fucking 8 events this year. People have reached out. I'm actually getting paid to go to an event this year. First one. So keep fucking plugging, guys. I'm going to each one, and I'm lining up interviews before I go now. Because I went to Prepper Camp last year. Do you know 5 Times August?
The band?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was there. So Rick and Jane, they run Prepper Camp. They're fucking awesome. Rick's like, Tim, you need to interview this guy. He likes my interview. He's like, you're a good interviewer, Tim. I'm like, cool. All right. So we lined it up ahead of time. We sat down, interviewed him for half an hour. My fucking mic wasn't turned on.
We just
Yeah,
did
I
that.
know, right? So he's like, I'll be back in a half hour. I'm like, okay, well, maybe he will. Maybe he come back. We had another awesome interview. I realized the power of in-person interviews. So I'm going to Nicole's today. I'm leaving here, driving to Gordonsville.
I'm there Saturday.
So I'm going to interview everybody who's launched these events. So I'm going to interview Nicole there. I'm going to interview you here at Self-Reliance Festival. You don't know yet, but I am. I'm going to interview Rick and Jane at Prepper Camp. I'm going to go around and I'm going to do 12 to 15 in-person half-hour interviews, polished, high production value, and I'm going to release them once a month throughout the next year. And we're going to do it to promote events, and I'm also going to do it to grow my audience as well. So there is incredible power in doing in-person interviews for sure. So we need to do that.
Yeah, for sure. So tell them how to make money on social media.
Sure. It's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. You have to keep doing it. So first off, the first thing you have to do is start. Everybody says, "Well, can I be a YouTuber?"
I don't have a $3,000 camera. I shoot 95% of my bullshit with a GoPro.
Yes. So I got an iPhone 13 on there. That's better than every fucking camera ever invented.
My phone is full.
Right.
Always.
Always.
Like I can record 2 minutes of video right now.
I know.
I spent an hour last night deleting shit off of here to get that 2 minutes. Like
Right.
this phone is always full.
Because it works.
I need to buy mine doesn't. I hate Apple and I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to get an iPhone.
That's what I use. I mean, I have.
Yeah.
And so I started with, it's funny because I look at my numbers every day. Because if you want to be a business person, I mean, you're either obsessed with it or you're not, right?
Yeah, if you don't know what your bank account says in the morning, you've got a fucking problem.
Yes. Or
Because when you have a problem, you don't realize it.
you don't know you have a problem. That's what I'm talking about.
PayPal hit me up yesterday. I've done business with PayPal. Like we use PayPal actually as a bank, right?
Yep.
I've got four accounts, 3 other banks, 3 real banks and PayPal. PayPal I've done business with for, this account since I've been home from prison, so 17 years, right?
Okay.
No bullshit, run millions of dollars through PayPal every year.
Nice.
PayPal hits me up and like, hey, you've exceeded you only have $13,000 more dollars you can spend this month.
What?
You're almost reached your spending limit. I don't have a line of credit with PayPal. I have money in PayPal.
Yeah.
And we spend my money that comes into PayPal, right? They steal their 4% and
Sure.
whatever. And I've never seen this. Everybody's lowering their account thresholds, right? People are getting lines of credit canceled. Capital One just canceled a bunch of auto lots, a lot of auto buy on site vehicle places that do from auctions,
Yep.
They buy with lines of credit through Cap One. Cap One just canceled all those, called that shit all back in. So things are changing.
Yes.
And if you're not proactive, right, you're not going to know you have a problem. I've never seen that shit happen ever.
No.
Like never. I can only spend this much money, but I have this much money. What the fuck is going on?
It makes no sense.
No.
So we're talking about
Yeah.
making, so I don't have one with me right now, but I went, so I seen this cool product. Whole story, seen an author I liked. He posted on Instagram. I picked it up. It looks like a credit card. It's $17. It has about 3 hours of battery life in
Saw it. Yeah, I saw your video.
Right. Everybody did because it's had 1.2 fucking million views on.
So do you have a click-through link for Amazon on it?
So they don't have it. It's not Amazon. I had to dig to find their product.
You got an affiliate link?
I do. I'm working on it. So this is a cool story. I wake up one morning. I get an email from the CEO of the company. They're like, "Our product's blowing up. It's selling like crazy. We'd like to get on a call with you." And I'm like, "Okay," because it's a product I like and I'm willing to endorse, right? So I get on the phone with them and they're like, "Well, how much do you want for us to be able?" No, first off, they're like, "We'd like to promote your video." They're like, "It'll be a like in kind thing." They're like, So I said, well, how much do you normally pay anyway? Because this is new to me,
Right,
right?
we don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, I made him pay me $100 to promote
Yeah, if
my
I keep my
video.
mouth shut, instead of 100, he might be like, well, we normally do 10 grand.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, I got $100 out of that. But I got 3 cases of batteries coming. My video's gone through the roof. Tons of promotion. But the thing is, it's a cool product. So now I have this relationship built with this company that I actually can stand behind. And that TikTok's so weird. You just don't know. I don't want to say you don't know. But
Man, I had a video pulled off of TikTok for bullying or sexual harassment,
sure.
which I never even, there was nothing sexual harassment or the gun stuff, right? There's gun stuff all over TikTok, but we'll get flagged for having a gun.
So somebody reported this video. So when you got to understand, you put your shit out there, you're going to get shit on, right? So I put this before the company contacted me. Somebody reported that, said it was a fucking commercial for the company. I said it's not. And about 6 hours later,
Some other company.
Yeah, right. So anyway, but you got to know this. Like, you're going to get shit. So you told me a while back, you're like, monetize the trolls, right? I had a guy, Brian from the Lots Project, he has a question every morning. He says, what's your goals? And I said, my goal this year is to make enough money with my content to be able to pay all our bills. And I made it public, because you make your goals public, even if you don't make them, you're getting closer, right? So there was a fairly big content creators like, you're not going to do it with. I'm like, fuck you, you don't even know. You've got all these subscribers. I said, you don't even know how much money I'm going to make. Then there was a guy named Mitch, and the guys called him something else on my
Mitch the Bitch.
Mitch the Bitch. So I monetized him. I got 2 more subscribers to my Patch of the Month Club, which is my reoccurring thing to do, right? So I haven't monetized these guys yet, but this video has gone fucking viral, right? I'm a fat dude. I know I'm a big dude, right? For whatever reason, you get about 1 in 100 people on TikTok who are like, I ain't taking advice from you. You're a big motherfucker. I'm like, you think I care?
I'm not telling you how to.
I'm not telling you how to
bodybuilder.
fucking live. I'm not telling you how to. I'm talking about a $17
No, I get
battery,
it, man.
right? So I'm going to monetize them because it's the only way to do it. Because people love to fight against some asshole who's calling me fat, sitting in eating their Doritos or whatever, right? I don't care. Yeah, so fuck them. But that's what you do, right?
Like what? Skinny guys don't like electricity?
Yeah. So you put yourself out there and you're going to get shit on?
Yeah.
But that's fine because you're doing way fucking more than they ever did. And I should have asked if I can swear on here, but I know.
No. So, I mean, it says made in the motherfucking
Oh, sure.
USA.
It's on the back of my sweater. Yeah.
So, Weapons Junkie was here yesterday, and we
Okay.
were doing a podcast, and I said, how come you haven't monetized your YouTube yet?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I don't have enough viewers, right? But it's not about making money from YouTube, right? So
Right.
all the videos, I'm over 4,000. I don't even know how many videos
Sure.
we have. We're getting millions of minutes of view time a month, maybe a week now. I've only made $20,000.
Really?
Entirely off of YouTube. That's all it's ever made. All
Okay.
from the very start to right now.
Yep.
We just broke 20 grand.
Okay.
But the money, you can make money not off the video, right? You don't need the money. You're not going to make money from YouTube paying you anymore.
Right.
Those days are over. That's why they canceled a bunch of dudes' accounts for whatever reasons they used. And then they have no problem with you making a new account because you're under the new guidelines, new laws, rules, and they pay you and monetize differently. But what you're going to make money is affiliate links, deals with other companies, Amazon links,
Yep.
right? When you see people in all these little groups and stuff, prepper groups and stuff, you always see people like, hey, what water filter should I use? And
Right.
they put up this little link. If you see a short link that's Amazon link, that's what they're doing. That's an affiliate link. And it just, what it does is it downloads a cookie in your browser. You don't know it happened, doesn't smell, doesn't taste no different. And anything you buy in the next 48 hours, I always tell 24 because it makes urgency, right? When it downloads that cookie, we get a percentage, right? So
Yep.
if you click my link and then click Tim's link, the last link you clicked, he's going to get the percentage of anything you buy on Amazon. And I get it. Amazon's the devil. I agree with you.
But we all
So
shop
let's
there.
take some money away from the devil and give it to somebody that you do care about.
Right.
And vote with your dollar, right? It just helps him build the content because he's not making any money from TikTok or Facebook or YouTube, right? It's those other things. And people and I saw some lady like, the new scam is they're putting these lady, you asked a question, they answered the question. What do you care? Like, you're spending the money anyways. Would you rather Amazon have the 200 or would you rather him get $10 of the 200?
Right. That's where I make my. So I do okay. Right now I'm making $600 a month from YouTube, just from YouTube.
Yeah.
I make basically that from my Amazon affiliate right now as well.
We just made $1,000 this month
Right.
on YouTube.
There's so much you can do. So my word of the year this year is concentrate, and it's concentrate on the shit that's making me the most money.
Right.
And for me, it's review videos. Generator is the biggest.
I
one
love
that-
it, man.
I love doing them, and because that's who I am. That you asked me what I would do if I could do anything, it'd be fucking play with generators, play with tools,
Yeah.
talk about tools, and help other people.
So when you said earlier, I don't know if we have it, this was rolling. So you guys will see some poor audio and then you'll see some good audio.
Good. Okay.
But when you said you like to fix things, right?
Yes.
And I thought, man, I like to collect things. Like,
Yes.
you like to fix it. I like to have a lot of tools. I don't want to use the tools, right?
Sure.
So how could you buy tools and make money? Well, I mean, Vince at VCG Construction, right? Those guys,
yeah.
they have a real construction company.
Yep.
You don't see shit of real construction anymore. You see tool reviews, right? Like, I want a big ass Omni wall. Like, we're going to put Omni wall over here, right? And I have tons of tools. How can you monetize those tools? Like, you don't even have to be a good reviewer. You can, and you can take the High Point versus Glock. I mean, we got tons of traffic off of those. Which one's the best, DeWalt or Milwaukee? And I like red and black, but I feel like Milwaukee is picking up a fake Lego. It doesn't feel as good as DeWalt, right? I hate yellow.
Yep.
I think that you should be able to, if DeWalt came out and they're like, hey, we're going to do a small line of black and red tools, man, people would lose their shit. But I like the red and black tools. But Milwaukee is a family-owned company, and they're very Christian value, and they're going to have a problem with made in the motherfucking USA.
Sure they are.
DeWalt sponsors a lot of NASCAR, though.
Yep.
Who's more apt to jump on board with my brand and my beliefs and the things I say? It's DeWalt.
And reach out to those companies because okay, real quick, how I've first off is start with YouTube, right? And the first thing you can do is Amazon affiliate links. You can make money before you can get monetized on YouTube, and it's all long tail content. Like some of my best trending videos are 3 years old now. You look at those, and one of my generator videos has been there forever. One of the videos, two of them, how to fix sagging ceiling tiles and how to paint over cigarette smoke. They were 3-minute videos, me wearing an old ratty t-shirt, lean my phone up against a wall.
Horrible production quality.
Horrible. And they make me money every single day. So Amazon affiliate, put your links, promote them everywhere, but don't sell yourself out either. Don't, if it's
It has to be real, or they'll know.
Because yes, we have a build-in with our audience, right? And if we break that trust, people remember that, because don't sell out over it. Like, talk about things you really love, and that's going to be the stuff. So I had a company reach out to me recently that they're going to send me a battery pack generator and a gas powered generator. 2 weeks before, I said to my wife, I'm like, you know what I would love? For people to start sending me generators, because I'm not going to spend, because they're expensive, right?
Yep.
Last year I picked up one at Harbor Freight because I can't get them in Canada. Took it home with me. So now companies are going to send them to me.
Did you get a Predator, or what was it?
Yeah, the Predator, the middle of the road, 3,000 watt inverter generator.
So I went on Harbor Freight, I don't know, a couple months ago. We had a big storm coming or something, and I'm like, I got 20 generators, but I'm like, man, maybe we should have a multi-fuel generator. So I hear they're having a sale. I go on there. I couldn't find a Predator generator on their website. Like,
it's not ideal.
a multi-fuel.
I don't know if they have. So Furman has incredible. I'm going to go down this route. I've used it for 3 years. I got it at Costco for under $1,000.
You're a good representative for that company, because I've only heard Furman from you. I've never heard it.
And it's their fault. I've reached out on 3 occasions. Now, okay, I shouldn't say that. I mean, they haven't got back to me. I've sent emails. I've talked to customer service reps. I stock up all the products you should have. So like carb kits, spark arresters, all that shit, and I keep it. So every time I call and order stuff, I talk to them. I tell them, I'm like, listen, I've sold more generators for you than you have. I said, just look at them. My top 3 videos are well over 100,000 views. People tell me all the time. They haven't got back to me yet. They will.
Can you buy them directly from them?
You can.
You can.
Yes.
Hey, I gotta pee. I'll be right back.
Yeah, sure.
Let it roll. Talk to it. Don't talk to it.
Yeah, no worries. So yeah, we so as far as Furman, I reach out to companies all the time, and my wife is my absolute biggest fan. And she, if it wasn't for her, I'd only be half as successful as I am, because she's constantly pushing me out and telling me, do this, do that, get going, do this, reach out to all these companies. And a few that I've reached out to are ones that I appreciate. So I don't know if you can see but right here, that is a Streamlight flashlight. I reached out to them. Coast brand flashlights, I love their stuff. But start out with Amazon affiliates. You're going to make money with that. Get monetized on YouTube if you can, if you're in a niche that works for that. Then go, there's a new one that I'm into, and it's called Amazon Influencers. And they will take your shorts for anywhere. You can't have self-promotion in them, and they will link them directly to the Amazon website, which is awesome. So when you go in, look at a product, pick it up, somebody's like, oh yeah, so they watch your video and then they buy it. I had it sitting there for 2 months. I thought it wasn't working at all. All of a sudden I get an email from Amazon like, we can't send you your check. You haven't signed up for this. I go in, there's like $200 or $300 in there. I'd only uploaded 5 60-second videos. And then repurpose your content, guys. This is crazy, but so good. When you're making these shorts, the ones that I can upload directly to Amazon, you want to put them everywhere. Put them on TikTok, put them on Instagram, put them on YouTube Shorts, put them on Facebook. Right up until just recently was the biggest growing shorts platform. But use it and then make money off them. Absolutely.
So you think they're going to ban TikTok?
No.
No, I don't think so either.
No.
I think it's a talking point that's pushed through the other social media companies that TikTok's kicking the shit out of. I
started a thing about a month ago. I called it Shit We're Supposed to Care About. And I'm going to collect shit like TikTok.
I like it, yeah.
Yeah. So in a year, I'm going to go back through all that, and I'm going to tell everybody. I'm like, hey, do you remember the Bud Light controversy? Hey, do you remember the TikTok canceling thing? None of it meant anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're talking about fear earlier. Fear's a great short-term motivator, but it's a horrible long-term motivator. Purpose is the thing that gets you out of bed every day.
Yeah. What's your fear today? I picked the phone up. I'm like, okay, time to get programmed.
Yes.
Time for my programming.
And people ask, like, why are you guys on social? Because that's where we need to be. I don't love social media. I know it is a drain on.
Well, when people say, why are you on social? I ask, how did you find me?
So true, right?
Because people are inherently lazy. We put out hundreds of hours, literally, of content. Somebody asked me yesterday, I don't remember who, like, are you going to keep up this rate that you're doing podcasts? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, dude, you're putting out so much content. Are you going to be able to keep it up? I'm like, we did a podcast every day for a year and then stopped. I said, you know what we didn't get? We got 20, 30 comments on each of the video podcasts we did.
Okay.
I got 20 podcasts a day when we stopped, right? People won't even, like, you're not super chatting me. Right? We don't know where the conversion to the revenue is. Like, how have I monetized the time? You guys won't even hit the thumbs up, and that's free.
It's tough,
and,
I know.
And I'm on a live video, and there's 100 dudes, right?
Yep.
The algorithm's changed. I used to do a live video on the Stair Stepper every morning at 9 o'clock, and I'd have 5,000 people on.
Wow.
On Facebook. It doesn't work that way. They suppress it back.
Yep.
So I get 100. Mm-hmm. I do a live every night at 9 o'clock, and the video will literally be about whatever you guys want to talk about.
Is.
You drive the conversation. And I can't get you to hit the thumbs up button. Like,
it's weird.
So it's a trip, right? People are lazy, right? So why am I on social media? I mean, what are you going to drive here? I mean, what do you, when people like, hey, I'm going to come hang out. I don't hang out.
No, I
this
tell Becky
is
that.
my hanging
yes,
out right
this
now.
Is it.
Like, I'm gonna interact with about 12 people today.
Yep.
As soon as we're done, my camera dude's rolling in here. My other guy was here yesterday. I'm gonna sit down with Scully. We're gonna do a podcast. We're gonna shoot some real video content on some product later. But like, I'm really gonna interact with about 12 people today.
Sure.
And I know them all.
Yes.
You know, I don't hang out. I don't have buddies. Like, my friends, if you see me doing with somebody you perceive to be a friend, we're doing business somehow. They're doing better than I am. Like, we're adding to each other.
And you know why? You know why you know me? Because I went after you. Because not just. That's not the only reason. Because you encouraged me to do shit. I went and did shit, but I also got here. I paid my way to get down here to go speak at Prepper Camp and to come to Self-Reliance Festival last fall so we could meet in person.
Yeah.
And I have worked at that. I've reached out to you and I said, John, I want your content for my live radio show. And you're, fuck yeah. But I asked you, right? And we talk, right? I mean, it's not like we, but we interact.
We can.
Yes,
when
absolutely.
I have something I think's of value, I send it to you.
Yes,
right?
you do.
Through Instagram, and you have a line of communication.
Yes.
Where I've never not answered you. There's
right.
I get 1,000 messages a day.
But I don't fucking blow you up and send you.
But you can. Like,
yes.
You could, and I'm not gonna be like, oh, here's fucking Tim again.
Yeah.
It's just not like that.
No.
Right?
I get it. But that's how you do it, guys. Because if there's somebody out there, so why do you think I bought a wallet that cost me $150 by the time it got to me?
Which is insane.
Because I wanted to support you. Because how much your wallet read? 55 or something?
65,
like that?
I think.
65. So by the time I paid for shipping to get it to Canada. By the time I had to pay duty on it, and then you add 30% for exchange rate, it was almost $150.
So how does that work, right? So you buy from my website.
Yes.
And I get $65.
Yes.
And then we charged you probably $6 to $8 to ship it.
No, closer to 20.
Did we?
I think.
Oh, because
I think
it's Canada.
It's Canada.
So
And I'm not complaining.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Okay, so where do you pay the duty at?
Okay, so then it crosses the border, and then they look at it and they're like, that's something that requires. I don't even know how they figured it.
Right.
Because
because Martha had a bad morning that morning.
So when I come down last year, I bought almost $3,000 Canadian at Harbor Freight to take up and review shit because I wanted to and I could. When I went across the border, I paid $70 in duty. That's it. I always thought, so you don't know what they're going to charge you.
Do they determine that off the receipt? Like, where does that number come from?
So when I go through the border, now I could. They may say, we need all your receipts. Typically, if I go up there and say, hey, I spent $3,423, they're happy with that. They say, how much booze do you have? Because I can only take a 40 back or whatever and whatever. So I like my bourbon, right? So I like to find some fancy bourbons, and they're way cheaper here. So they ask, I pay, because where I live, it's only 5% federal tax. I pay the 5%, as long as it's not some weird item.
We need to stop calling that tax and just refer to it as theft.
Theft, sure. And so that wallet, for whatever reason, is subject to other duties as well. So it was like $30-some American. I can't remember. So
it's pretty wild.
Yeah. So by the time it was done, it's $150 for a wallet. It was worth every fucking penny. Because every time I pull that out, I see that and I think, yeah.
That's the gateway
John
drug.
Willis.
Like we say that a lot. Like we make a chest rig, the NSW chest rig, and it's like $700, right?
Sure.
And there's 1,000 of them out there maybe, and
Yep.
1% of the dudes that have them actually have used them for real. 5% have actually put them on. Most of them just have them because they wanted them or want to have some story or whatever.
Right.
And they don't use them. But that $65 wallet, a guy's going to carry that every single day. That belt, he's going to have it on every day. But that wallet, when you pull it out, you're going to be like, made in the motherfucking. You're going to show that to the girl at the register or whatever.
See if I can grab this while you're
Yeah.
talking here.
So
Sorry.
what is living in Canada and owning property in the United States look like? Like you bought how much property?
We bought two lots, just over 5 acres, so about 10.5 acres.
Okay,
total.
so you have 10 acres of property.
Yeah.
You're going to build a tiny house or a home or
it's going to
something?
be, so if you ask me, it's going to be a small cabin. If you ask Becky, it's going to be a fucking mansion in the woods. So somewhere in between, but it's going to be a cabin.
I like the mansion.
I do too. So we went in there and level. It's beautiful. We found some nice flat spots. It's going to be, so picture this, it's going to be a vacation property with 2 bedrooms, and I can drink my coffee and look toward the east.
So here's my question.
You're
You're going to build this house, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to have some stuff there.
Yes.
How are you going to secure that?
Yeah, so I've thought about that. I have a couple different options. First thing I'm probably going to do is buy an enclosed trailer, a short, like 8 or 10 footer that I can also take and go to all the events with, right?
Okay.
Now I have community here. That's the key. So Dawn, I love her. She offered. So she reaches out to me. You bought land in Tennessee. She said, I'm going to drive down there and I'm going to take GoPro footage of your whole property and send it
Gorham?
to you. Dawn Sutton.
Who is that?
She is, I want to say that she came into my workshop community through Living Free in Tennessee.
I'm sure I know her. I feel like did she move here and had some goats?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
she bought land, so
Love
she introduced me
yeah.
to the company I bought the land from as well. So it's all been, and now other people are looking to buy land down there. She's been super helpful. So she went down, walked the property. So anyway, she's like, well, you have friends here. You want to put it in a trailer, and then park the trailer at my place for the 6 months of the year.
Cool.
But I've also looked for self-storage places too, right?
Yeah.
And when we build a hunting camp in the woods at Mount, we didn't build it. It lived there. It was always there. You just don't leave anything valuable in there. You don't lock the doors. You don't make anything they can break. You don't put a stove in there with a beautiful front glass door. You put a fucking...
And we just hope they don't vandalize it.
Right, and they might, and if they do, because I'm going to be realistic. I mean, it's 41 miles from Camden. It's in the middle of the woods. If somebody's going to beat on it, they're probably going to. So I'm going to try to make it as I'm not going to build a brick shit house. It's going to be something you can live in, but I'm going to just try to make it so that people can't destroy it, right? And then we're going to build, so here it is. It's going to be a 2-bedroom, and we also found a spring on the property, and then we're going to have 4 bunkhouses around. Because, Here's the deal. There's so many things we can do with it, but first off, it's a vacation property for us. Secondly, it's going to be a hip camp place. Thirdly, it's going to be a place that I can come down and run events. So we're going to do, like I said, a 2-day work event. Chuck Peoples is going to be there, Brian Alexovich. There's I'm sure I'm forgetting other people. Anyway, Carrie Brown's going to be there teaching. But basically,
When is this?
It's going to be the 2 days before Self-Reliance Festival.
And people can get tickets to that?
It's going to be, I'm supplying the material. Everybody, the deal is you show up with an open mind, a good personality, and a willing back. And if you do that, I'm going to feed you. We're going to have some cool instructors there, and we're going to work our asses off.
But that's that access thing we're talking about, right? So
Right.
people have an opportunity to show up, learn, help, but gain access, right? Right now,
Right.
you send a message to Tim, he probably sees it. But when you're on Instagram, for instance, there's 4 folders, right? And I get messages all the time, and I don't even see that folder sometimes. I'm like, man, all these people that have been messaging me. This gives you access, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's when you messaged Tim, and you're like, hey, I was out there, and now he puts you in the general or the primary folder, and now you have access, and that's how you get access. And when you have access, things in your life change.
Yes, they do. And that's what happened
And
to
you
me.
get access by value. You add value.
Because in value is either money or time, really. I mean, those are the two, right? And I got to pick your brain sitting on a beach in Daytona Beach last year, and that's where I got my first piece of value from you. Was, I ran with it, but you're like, you need to be on TikTok. And then I had access because we talked, and then I did shit. And I proved to you that I could do shit.
I like people that do things. Like
Right.
we do a live every Tuesday, right?
Right.
And sometimes we get on and there's just no energy. Like you'll see
I
me
know.
when I say little,
Yeah.
it's just the energy's not there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I have so much content out there, people always want to operate on negativity, right?
Yes.
If I build a piece of content just being an asshole to somebody, it gets thousands and thousands
I
of
know it
views,
does.
right? But when I put up something actionable, it gets 2 thumbs up, right? You get 2 interactions. Which one's more valuable, Which one adds to you? I feel like I heard something recently, I think it's from Hermosi. And if you're wanting to do franchise businesses, you need to listen to Hermosi. That's what he does.
I will.
But he said, it's almost more important. Well, it is more important to remove negativity from your life than to add positivity, right? So if you add 20 positive people,
Yep.
doesn't matter if that cancer's there, you're going to gain more by removing the negativity than anything else in your life.
It's true.
Yeah.
I don't. Where else do you go with it? I mean, I had a guy in my group who pulled himself out of the group because he didn't agree with things. My hill I die on is freedom, right? Freedom of
In
expression.
your group.
In my group.
Yeah.
There
What
was
did you
some,
think you were coming to?
There was some. There was some memes shared at Easter, zombie Jesus and things like that.
yeah.
I thought they were hilarious, and the dude was like, I know you're an atheist, Tim. I'm like, no. It has nothing to do with being an atheist. It has to do with being a motherfucking anarchist who is in favor of freedom of expression. And if you get butthurt, I don't know what to do. I still love the brother, always will love him, and he's welcome back anytime he wants to.
That's the key thing, right? When people this doesn't have to be a life-changing event. You chose to leave.
Right.
I got it. I was here before I knew you existed.
Yep.
You disagreed. You've left. You can come back.
Sure. No problem.
No problem. You can
Yeah.
come back if something changes in your life. I like to tell people, like, man, I hope tomorrow's better for you than today. Like whatever's going on, it probably had nothing to do with you right then, and maybe it did. You don't know. Who knows?
And if it
Outside
is, that's
influence,
okay.
whatever.
I like to call people out. I went to go get an inspection done at the daycare one day, and this guy showed up, and he was just in a fucking bad mood. And I'm like, he was going to be my inspector, and I just couldn't handle it. And I looked at him, I said, I don't know what happened to you today.
Right.
Are you having a bad day? And as soon as I called him out on his shit, totally fine. Because if I'm doing that to you, I want you to, well, you'll just say, get the fuck out of here. But I want somebody to call me out too, because sometimes we don't realize it. We just get in this,
Yeah, it's your job to fucking make my life miserable? Like,
right. And I called him out, and after that, we were cool. I fell down the
yeah,
stairs
why
in
is the
front of
code
me.
enforcement guy got to be a fucking asshole? Why don't you come in here and just tell me how to make this right? Let's skip all this bullshit.
Yeah, just tell me what to do.
Tell me what needs to happen.
And it worked. It was perfect. And it doesn't happen very often. I don't like to do that if I don't have to. But if somebody's being a dick and and being a dick for the sake of being a dick, call them out and be done with it, right?
So, coming
Yes.
to the United States.
Yeah.
Legally, how does that work?
6 months minus a day I can be here.
Where the fuck does that, who?
It's less than a year. So less than half a year. I run into all kinds of troubles. Now,
Who came up with it? Why?
I have no idea. So I was talking to the lady at the hotel.
Is that our laws or your laws?
I think that's my laws, I believe, because I start losing credentials and things in
You
Canada.
might be less French.
I
mean, what
think,
the fuck?
yeah, I'd be less than 10% French. I don't even know where it came from, why it is. Because here's the thing. I'm going to come down here. I don't need to make money while I'm down here. I'm making money back there. So I have money. I'm not coming down and taking jobs from an American. I'm also not coming down and getting on welfare or anything like that. So why the hell can't I come down here, buy land, spend money for as long as I want? But we can't.
If you came in through Mexico, we just let you.
I know. And it
Fucking crazy.
I know. That's what the lady, I didn't want to say it, and then I got talking to the lady there, and she's like, that's exactly what it is. She goes, if you'd came from south, things would have been
So do you
totally
have any
different.
kind of hassle when you come across our border?
I do, because you saw my truck. I don't know if you did, but I got a little lifted, beautiful Ram 1500. It's decked out, but it has my all seasons maintenance logo on the side of the truck.
So they see it as a commercial
Right.
vehicle.
So here, this is when it's going to be fun, is when I come down in August, September, because I'm bringing my tools with me. So I need to have paperwork before I come, because I need to prove that I'm not going to be a handyman.
So you have to have paperwork for tools.
Well, I think what I will have to do is have paperwork for the land to prove that I bought land down here.
If the trailer was full of children, they wouldn't be like, whose children are these?
Probably
Well, I
not.
mean, they would.
Yeah,
but-
I know. But we're being facetious. But you're right. That's absolutely. So, yeah. Because they do. Every time. So I go through the border. And the first thing you do when you pull up to the border is you roll your front and back window down, take your keys out, put them in the car.
Put my hands out.
Yes,
So,
yes.
What are you doing? I don't want you to shoot me.
Right. But they want that. They want the power. They want.
Yeah.
But they also want to know that you're not hiding anything. And I don't. I'm not going. I don't want to lose my. I know it's a privilege. I hate to say it. I don't want to lose my
Yeah, I
privilege,
get
so I'm
it.
not fighting with them. Right. I pull up. I'll answer the
Yeah,
questions.
you probably even need to be careful what you say right here.
I know it's true, right? So, but I'm not hiding. So when I come down, I'm not coming down to make money. I'm coming down to work. So I'll have my ducks in a row. I'll have my paperwork. I'll say, here it is. Here's the bill of sale for the land. I'm coming down to work on my own property. I'm going to spend money. I'm going to buy materials from all
And
the
your-
local
and
suppliers.
Your income, yeah, I'm spending taxes, yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. And that's all I need. I just have to prove it. So, and usually they're really good, because you just need to tell them where you're going, and it sucks because I don't like to tell people that, but I know that's the rule that I have to jump through. It's the hoop that if I want to be the guy and the gray man and not
Have
attract
you met
attention.
Iridium Solutions?
Yes, we've talked because of you. You made the connection. I had him on my show. If things work out, we're going to have a much closer personal interaction this summer. I don't know for sure if it will. If it doesn't, we will meet in person at some point, because we're only 8 hours apart. I don't know what kind of trouble he's had at the border.
So
but
he packed up last year to come to SRF.
Right.
And they turned him around at our border.
Why?
I think because he was not
Okay.
vaccinated.
So this was something I had. So I am. We made that choice, and it took me a long time to tell people that. I don't regret. I don't have any regrets in life. It just happened to be that we based our decision on that at that time, and I'm an anarchist, and I'm cool with it. But I was still hesitant to mention that to people, because it's a check in the wrong direction for some people, and I get it.
So
right?
do you have boosters?
No, we just. I mean, we could, but we
How
stopped
come you didn't go get a bunch of boosters?
because after the fact, I'm like, it didn't do anything. You know.
Do you think that some of it is harm to people?
I think it's possible. Sure. I hope it didn't happen to me. I don't regret doing it.
I think you would know if it's happened
Sure.
to you.
Yes.
There does seem to be like that. I know that I want to be careful what I say here for you.
Yes, I understand.
So we'll,
Yeah, but no, I'll be honest. I don't regret. I said I don't live with regrets. I make choices and I move on from those. Now, one of the good side effects to that was I was still allowed to travel because of that, which sucks. But I will tell you, that would be a hill I would die on if I needed to die on that hill. But that is what anarchy is respecting the right choice for either person.
So did you have mandates in Canada?
So here's the other thing, and this is what's beautiful about it. I didn't, because we're both self-employed. I didn't have to.
Okay, so it was a job. It was the jobs mandating it, not the government mandating it.
Yeah. You didn't.
I think that was a lot of here too.
At one time, you couldn't go to any public events, or you couldn't travel without it. Now in Canada, so you as an American, you can come to Canada now, no problem at all, and you can come back to your country as well. They won't ask you any questions. So yeah, but it was really tough. We were much tougher up there than you guys were in places, right? Mm-hmm. So, but that was what was awesome about being an entrepreneur was I was able. I didn't have to worry about my livelihood being ruined to make that choice, and I still made the choice for me and for my wife.
What would it take for you to move here and become a citizen?
Probably more than it. I mean, I would do it, and I've looked at it. So there's not much that is possible right now, and I've done a lot of digging, but I could get a green card if I had someone who wanted me to come and work for them for a long period of time. But that is still an extension by extension basis. So I would never actually be a citizen. It would be like 2 years, 5 years, 5 years, 5 years. And if you're on that path, to become a citizen in the U.S. is very, very difficult because you have to choose one or the other.
Which is so crazy.
It is.
It's literally so fucking crazy.
It makes no sense to me because we could live here, as long as we keep our businesses running, we could live here indefinitely with not having to make any money, if you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what it comes down to. And it's a tough road, you know?
So the property, you said it's got multiple levels. Mm-hmm. You know, we can push mountains. Like we can move the high spot to the low spot and level some more of that.
Are we going to do that?
There's equipment.
Oh, yes. And we probably will. We like the lay of the land, the way it is. It's fairly accessible, especially there's a lot of deadfall on the ground. We're going to get in there. That's what most people are going to do. We're going to do chainsaws, hauling, piling, and burning.
So we're running a chainsaw workshop here in 6 weeks.
Okay.
And Chris Watkins runs a big company here.
Okay.
And that's what they do, storm cleanup and like they did the whole contract for the city here.
Yep.
So all the wood chips came here. Like 1,000 major dump truck chipper trucks. They run pole saws, but he's coming in and bringing all the equipment.
Okay.
And we're going to show everybody, like you see it on the side of the road. And the average homeowner's not going to use this stuff, but you're going to see it. You're going to be exposed to it. This is what it does. This is why it does it. What kind of chainsaw do you use? Like, what size saw? Like, I went to buy a steel 170 the other day and came home with a 311 or something, you know, like 3-4 times the saw. I still don't own a small saw. So which saw do you need? What's the advantages of gas versus electric? What's the real parameters of what electric will do nowadays?
Sure.
How to sharpen it, how to maintain it, how to store it, what fuel to use, how to store your fuel. Tourniquets. Chuck's going to be here doing a class on emergencies around chainsaw. Do I need to put the chaps on? Do I really need the screen in front of my face? And we're just going to give people exposure to everything.
Is that a free course for community?
No, it's gonna cost, but we're giving you lunch, and
Yeah.
there's going to be camping here and everything.
That's awesome.
We've got some sponsors coming in. We've got some saw companies coming in. I think we have Vermeer's coming in with chippers.
Okay.
We're going to have a bigger wood miser out here. We're going to actually take some of the wood that we fall, because we got all these pines out here we got to cut down. Because we're about to redo all of the pond in that whole front area with dozers. So we're going to turn that into dimensional lumber, and you're going to see what the reality of dimensional lumber is, like what it really takes to do it, what a Alaskan mill for $100 looks like, and what it'll do versus what a $45,000 wood processor does. I've got my Wolf Ridge Manufacturing firewood processor here, which has a lift gate and a 4-way wedge and a hydraulic wedge and everything. And then we'll have people here who have never split firewood, right? Do you split firewood with a splitting axe? What's the difference between that and a wood blaster and a sledgehammer?
Yep.
How much sledgehammer do you use, right? Do you want a 6-pound sledge? Do you want a 12-pound sledge? So we're going to give full exposure. You can come here and touch nothing, or you can come here and touch everything. We're going to show you how to fall a tree, how to make it go a certain direction, what the dangers of trees under tension are and torsion, all of it, right? There's going to be spikes. We're not putting spikes on people, but they're going to jump up and climb some trees and top off some trees and just show so that you're close to it, right? We have people here who have never smelled bar oil and wood chips, right? I expect they'll be here. Good. So when you walk away, everybody's going to take something away.
Yeah. Where'd that idea come from?
I just felt like we needed somebody. There's a local group here, a Mennonite store, probably about 40 minutes from here.
Okay.
And they did a pig butchering class a couple months ago.
Nice.
For free. Anybody can come.
Okay.
And they couldn't park them. Like, it just wasn't even available. It was so overwhelming. And I just thought, well, I personally, this is a good way to get Chris in here. I'm going to learn some stuff from Chris for sure. And I just thought, well, if I need this, other dudes probably, like, I own probably 12 chainsaws, right? Yeah. And we run a lot, and we did it. Like, we had wood chippers back here. We cleaned up several acres over here when the logging companies came through. We brought all the debris back here. We ran it all through wood chippers. And what I realized is that paying dudes $10 to $15 an hour, paying 5 dudes 8 hours a day at $10 to $15 an hour. At the end of the day, I had a pile of wood chips like this big. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
So I just, and if you ever plan, I think money's getting tighter for people.
Yes, it is.
And Tennessee's one of the states still where they're not hassling people about burning wood, right?
Nice.
So that was kind of my thing when Kufis first started. We did a lot of stuff, and one of them was I brought in a firewood processing thing, because if they truly cut off shipping,
Yep.
if UPS or the U.S. mail shut down or we couldn't do interstate commerce, how did I pay my guys, right? And they've all moved here. So how do I still able to give them a paycheck and feed them and do what we need to do? And that's what I thought. I go, well, if this is real,
Yep.
firewood, we'll do firewood, we'll do eggs, we'll do,
Yeah.
vegetation, we'll do vegetables, we'll do whatever we have to do.
Yep.
But that was something we could do, and they're still logging all over the place. So they just pile it up. They call it dozer piles, and they just slow burn it, and it just smokes for weeks, right?
Yep.
Well, we can go in if you have equipment, and we do. We've got a skid steer with a grapple and an excavator, and
yeah.
we can just put those logs on trailers, bring them back here, buck them up with an excavator or a skid steer. So everything, it's a force multiplier. So the
Sure.
more equipment we can use, the less human damage there is at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So we can just saw those, and then the lift gate on the log splitter, if you can get the round to it, it will lift it. And
Really?
and it'll put it up there and then split it, and then you just push the big pieces back, split them again.
I love those.
And then we have access to IBC totes, so we're taking the bladders out of the totes,
Yep.
and we're putting them in cages, and now we can move everything with skid steer with pallet forks. So if we sell the wood, we haven't ever, but
But you could.
I want to have the whole driveway lined with IBC totes full of firewood. And
Yeah.
if we ever need to sell it, we sell it. We take those bladders and we cut 12 inches of the bladder and use it as a cap.
Sure.
So the rain sheds, and we can put them multiples high. And that's what we did.
I love it. Why not? Every bit. We're gonna run. I'm going to officially announce it at Nicole's, but so I may never fully move to the States because I am Canadian. That's where.
But there might be a terrible accident. You just happen to be in the States when it happens.
And if that happens, I'm cool with that. Until then, we're
That's
going to
how
run.
all the survival fiction books
Right.
start.
So true. And it could. And that's why it's a spread out place with, because it could be I hate the scary word compound, but that's what it could be. We could all live there someday. And I mean that in a friendly, like a family place.
We called
right?
it, this is the SOE compound.
Sure,
There's a
yeah.
hashtag for it. And it just, because of the parties, SOE compound party. That's what it
Yeah.
was originally, before there was ever any fences or anything.
Right.
Fences, best thing we ever did.
I bet.
Fences
I love
and
your
gates.
gate.
Fences
Yeah.
and gates, man. So I don't know if we had it on audio here when we were talking about it. Back to the 1 second after author.
Yes.
What's his name?
Bill, he told me to call him Bill.
Bill.
William Fortune.
William Fortune.
Yeah, he was just recently on Coast to Coast AM again as well.
So I met Art Bell several times. We used to do Soldier Fortune show out in Las Vegas, and
Okay.
I built him a LBV for AK-47. He had a subload tack holster, had a CQB subload, hydro carrier, and a belt, and it was all black. And I'd met Art Bell several times. I used to deliver newspaper routes. Had 3 in the same area. It took about 4 hours, and I was getting like $3,000 a month to do Investors Business Daily, Wall Street Journal, and New York Times.
Okay.
So we'd show up at the depot, fold up newspapers, put them in the car, and have the route that all overlapped, and then just listen to coast to coast.
I love Coast. Anyway, I'll drop this a little bit. I'm rebranding my podcast pretty soon, and it's going to have more of nothing's going to change, but the branding's going to be more radio friendly. I'm not going to.
Sure.
Because I love talk radio. Grew up listening to talk radio, and that's kind of my bent, and that's where the show has been gradually going. There's power in information and ideas and that sort of thing, and the free exchange and interaction.
What do you mean by more radio friendly?
Not radio friendly. Well, okay. It's going to be called the Workshop Radio. Just shortening it up.
Okay.
New logo, whole bunch of stuff coming out. So people are going to know now. So whatever. Anyway, I got a cool, because we started this at New Year's. Remember, I reached out to you. I said, hey, can I have some of your content? So we did a 24-hour live stream where I reached out to all my content creator friends, and I just said, send me content. And we put it together.
Were you able to sleep, and then they kind of hosted for that other
So
part,
yeah,
or?
I had a pre-recorded. It was live.
Okay.
So what we did was we had 2 12-hour. So we did it for 48 hours. So we did 12 hours, and then I looped it for 12 hours while I slept.
Cool.
And then looped it again. So that was great. we cut it back. We did a 4 or 6 hour. Nicole, but this time we did it with live hosts. So Nicole and I, well, she was in Tennessee, I was in Canada, and we would do. I told everybody 15 minutes. Send me 15-minute segment. We're going to do a 5-minute live intro, just like you'd have on talk radio. So that whole day, we would pop in for 5 minutes. We'd talk, introduce what was going on, then play a 15-minute segment from a content creator. Did that for 4 hours. It was huge. People loved it, and I love that. Now I'm not going to change what I do. I still do 4 episodes a week. But it's going to be called Workshop Radio. It rolls off the tongue better than the
So
Workshop
just
podcast.
no cussing or...
Oh, no, I swear.
Okay.
Yeah. No, people will know who I am.
You see a lot of companies like coming from like dirt bikes and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, as a young kid, it was like Life's a Beach and No Fear and stuff like that when Ricky Johnson started the company originally. But then people like hardcore dirt bikers, they kind of went like Metal Militia with the spikes and the black, and you know we got friends that are friends with those guys. But everybody's like, oh, they went corporate, they sold out. And we were talking about Black Rifle Coffee the other day, right? Everybody's mad at Black Rifle because they did whatever they did or said some things somebody didn't like. But I think what people don't realize is they might have gone, I don't know what their financials were, but let's say they were a $5 million company, right? So they brought in some investment firms, and now they're a $100 million company or $200 million company. Well, they don't own the company anymore, right? They own 40% of the company. So everybody's mad at them, and they sold out, right? Did they sell out? You know, because how much money does each of those guys have now? And what is their other companies that you don't know about that they're starting, right? Is
Rat Tourniquet?
Yeah. So Rats.
Yep. Rats.
Kirkham.
Yep. Kirk. Yep. Incredible author, Jeff is.
You hear,
I want him on my show. I've reached out and anyway.
What did he write?
He wrote Black Monday, Black Tuesday.
Black Swan, Black.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That whole
you
series.
Put me right on the side. Yeah. He's got like.
Does he use his name as his author?
Yeah, he does.
Jeff Kirkham. So I've listened to everything.
Yes.
And I typically only listen to
Black Autumn.
Black Autumn. Yep. I typically only listen to books that have multiple in there because I don't want to listen to 60 hours. I want, hundreds of hours, right?
Yep.
So it's fleshed out. We do business directly with him.
Oh yeah.
He was friends with James.
Yeah.
Came from Special Forces. He's got an incredible resume.
So I've reached out to him, and he did get back to me and said he'd love to be on the show, and then we just he hasn't got back to me yet again.
How do you communicate with him?
Email. I got it through
his personal email.
I think so. I got it from a friend of a friend.
I have it if you need.
Okay. And so if anybody's out there, can give him a little nudge, because I understand the dude's a busy dude, and I'm sure it just fell through the cracks. But he totally said he was going to come on the show, so I will get him on here at some point. So because I just keep reaching out, and so everybody wants, everybody has the Captain Ahab with the white whale, or they want. Mm-hmm. So mine is Mike Rowe, and I will have him on my show at some point.
So I know somebody that interned for Mike Rowe.
Okay.
And has won one of his scholarships.
Okay.
And he has read some of her works 3 times, and she's actually been on one of his YouTube things.
Oh, yeah.
So we know somebody that knows him, so we might have a back door there a little bit.
I had a producer of his agree to come on my show.
Cool. Love what he's... I'd like to see him do something in politics.
Oh, yeah. But the problem is, I don't know. So I reach out to these bigger guests, because if you want somebody, just ask, right? And sometimes you got to jump. Anyway, the dude agreed to come on the show. I sent him some dates, and I've followed up a couple of times, and it peters out right there at that point with some people. So you said earlier that your wife is your biggest fan. Yes, 100%.
Does she watch all your content?
Yeah, pretty much. She's what's really cool? We do it together now too.
Yeah.
So, but once a week we do a show together, and I think people like her more than me.
So we have a membership. It's $1 to join.
I'm a member.
And
I don't ever use
Amanda
it, but
and I do a
for
question and answer once a week where we sit down for about 90 minutes.
Yep.
And then as a joke, we did the relationship advice. My video guy, Austin's like, he did a whole compilation. People ask me questions. I'm like, you married the wrong bitch. Like, go get a better woman, So he did a compilation putting that together, and then he, just as a joke, he's like, ask John relationship questions. And it's kind of turned in like, I have no business giving relationship advice.
Sure.
But her and I do that.
Yeah.
So does your wife act as a personal assistant to you, because she runs several other businesses also?
She's as busy as I am. She is the one that pushes. Like, so when we first met, she was like the not scared of anything, like just run at people, but I was the people person, right? And over the years, we've come together in the middle, and we balance each other out like crazy. But she, like I said, she's the one who wanted to start the next daycare on the way down here. So she helps me where she can, but she's given me the freedom to create this content because she didn't have to do that, because I was doing quite well with the handyman business,
Sure.
the all seasons maintenance. So she has pushed me and said, honey, you do what you need to do with the content. It's going to be way bigger than anything else we've done.
Right, and I think people get stuck on this thing, right? You start this entrepreneurial journey or this service or whatever, and you're at 12 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
But as you go, that second hand clicked 1 second, right?
Yep.
And it still looks like the same path, but a year down the road, you don't even see each other, right? So it can turn into something else. And you might have started picking up dog shit.
I did,
And
100%.
You might start picking up dog shit, but then once the social media is off the ground, it can turn into something else, and you don't pick up dog shit anymore.
I don't.
Like you have a guy that picks up dog, or you just stop it, right? Or whatever it is. And that can always evolve. But the question I was going to ask, at what point do you hire an assistant?
It's tough.
Because that's where I'm lacking, right? This, especially like this chainsaw class. I need
Sure.
somebody that's good at reaching out to company. Hey, we're doing this thing. This is why it's of value to you. Would you be interested in coming in? What does that look like? How much space do you need? You know,
Outsourcing, I think, is almost always worth it in some way, shape, or form. And
does it need to be in-house, or can it be from anywhere?
well, for me, my biggest one is Fiverr, Fiverr, because I could design a logo for my channel. I could, but it would take me hours and it wouldn't look as good as somebody else. So for $20, I go on Fiverr and I have somebody redesign, or no, it's more like $80, I think, but whatever. So my newest logo that's coming out, he did all that. He did, where is it here? Yeah, so if you can see it, there's the Toolman Tim, the
Right
original one. Yeah, so that's my logo. He did that. He just revamped my new one. I think people don't realize that you have to spend money to make money, and my wife has been really good at that. She's always told me, honey, throw money into this content creation, because you have to. If you want to build, there's a bit of a pay to play in a sense, but eventually you need to upgrade your equipment. But anything you can outsource, if you can, and I will eventually. I'm not to that point yet, but I will eventually have somebody who does all my editing and things for me.
Right.
But it is important. You have to, when you get to the point where you're struggling to keep up the quality, you need somebody to take care of the shit you don't have to do.
I need somebody to just liaison, really, right? Just
Yes.
the things I'm missing.
Yeah, Nicole would be great for that if she wasn't building her own empire.
Right.
Yes,
Yep.
Nicole Sauce from
Yep.
Living Free in Tennessee, because she's busting balls and making her money over
Right.
there. And most people who'd be really good at it are doing that. But there's some people who are born for that,
Yeah.
who love to help. So yeah, I don't know how to tell you what to
Yeah,
to hire, but
that's why I was just asking
know.
you. So you're heading to Nicole's.
we are. Yes, we're getting on the road here right away.
Got it.
We're what, 2.5 hours roughly
Yeah.
from Nicole's now, which is great. And
I'll see you out there Saturday.
I can't wait. It's fucking awesome. Yeah, it's gonna
Dude,
be good.
thanks for sitting down.
Oh, hey, thank you. If you guys want to support me, you're probably going to so toolmantim.co. Look up Toolman Tim's Workshop on all the podcast platforms, YouTube channel. And the big one is, actually, you know what? I got some here for you that you didn't know about. So I do a Patch of the Month Club. And these are $10 a month, $100 a year, patchofthemonth.co, co.com, right? And we get like shoot, shovel, shut up. How much is that in freedom units? Built like a brick shit house stuff. Oh, and my favorite was the one we started with right here. So if you remember those stickers from
Been prepping since Y2K.
yeah, this is the old Best Buy sticker. So anyway, they're usually politically incorrect, and they are funny, prepping related.
Best Buy is
So-
almost out of business.
and I brought those for you.
Thank you.
That's the first 6 plus my logo. That's what we've done so far. I
Awesome.
launched this. I told you I was going to do it, and yeah, we got like 30 subscribers so far, which is, for me, to launch something from brand new. Again, you guys got to remember, when you start a business, it's put along and then
Boom,
exponential growth.
Yeah, how do
So-
we get you to 3,000? That's where it
Exactly.
needs to be.
Yep, and it will be. 100% will be.
Because your profit margin goes up, but your work doesn't. Well, I mean, other than shipping.
Right, and that's what, and you float it for a while and you get it, and yeah, so this is all, I love it. Yeah, so thanks, John. I appreciate
Man,
it every
thank
friggin'
you.
time.
I will
Yeah.
see you out at Nicole's in a couple of days.
Can't wait.
Awesome.
Yeah, man, I'm talking about realest, one of the realest to try. My family, SOE, got the tools to survive. Yeah.
Trying to tear us down, but me and my team, the last of a dead breed, you can't kill us, we move at hyperspeed. SOE, the last of a dead breed.